Good morning.
Good morning.
I invite you to please turn off your phones Make sure that they're on buzz or off, or mute altogether. And because we have precious little cargo that just arrived, a new little baby, Charlotte. Yes. I'm so excited I saw you guys come in before they did. Welcome to Eastrose Fellowship, Unitarian Universalist. Everyone here online, all the babies and all the mamas and daddies and grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles and everybody else. We're very glad you're here. And we're very glad if you're a first-time visitor, welcome. And we hope you enjoy today's service and come back again. Next week is Easter. My name is Cynthia Hopkins. I'll be your worship leader today. Our minister, Reverend Landerman Zucker, preaches today and will explore with us the spiritual, physical, and emotional benefits of answering everything to the question, what can I look forward to? This question is one we all ask ourselves when our lives feel stuck, we're ill or under duress, when we're alarmed by the present, or our future looks murky. Eastrose Fellowship sits on the occupied territory of the Clackamas Chinook people who were forcibly displaced from this land to the Grand Ronde Reservation in 1855. We acknowledge the sacrifices endured by the ancestors of this land, and that our presence here today is only possible because of the injustices committed against them. We recognize the inherent sovereignty of the Chinook Nation and confederated tribes of the Grand Ronde who carry on the traditions, history, and legacy held by their ancestors from time immemorial to this day. We seek meaningful relationships with these communities that foster repair. At this point, let's all stand up and greet each other, but first let's turn to the cameras under the clock back there and wave hello to everyone online, and then let's say hello to each other. Our responsive call to worship is entitled We Gather in Reverence by Sophia Lyon Follis. I will read the words in white. Yellow. This is why we have her around. Correct the worship leader. I'm a fact checker. Yeah, fact checker. Okay, and you'll read the other one. We gather in reverence before the wonder of life, the wonder of this moment, the wonder of being together, so close yet so far apart, each hidden in our own secret chamber, each listening, each trying to speak. Yet none fully understanding, none fully understood. We gather in reverence before all intangible things that eyes see not nor ears can detect, that hands can never touch, that space cannot hold, and time cannot measure. following are from Christine Robinson. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Wonderful to see you all on this bright spring day and some new people in the congregation today. We're very happy to have you here with us. The opening words today are from the internet. They're anonymous. I tried to find an author. This was posted by a colleague of mine on Facebook. It's called, "We Are All in the Line." Every minute, someone leaves this world behind. We are all in the line without knowing it. We never know how many people are before us. We cannot move to the back of the line. We cannot step out of the line. We cannot avoid the line. So while we wait in line, make moments count. Make priorities. Make the time. Make your gifts known. Make a nobody feel like a somebody. Make your voice heard. Make the small things big. Make someone smile. Make the change. Make love. Make up. Make peace. Make sure to tell your people they are loved. Make sure to have no regrets. And make sure you are ready. Our opening hymn is number 331 in the gray hymnal. We have two hymnals if you're new today. A thick one, it's gray, and a thin one, it's teal. We're going to sing number 331, "Life is the Greatest Gift of All," and the words will also be on the screen. Please rise as you are willing and able.
Hey, you beat me up here. Good morning. Today's story is about a little mole who feels sad in its underground burrow after a long, dark winter. Spring is a wonderful reminder of hope that returns each year. As the sun shines more and more, it awakens plants and animals, bringing new life all around us. Right now, we're in the beginning of this season. You can see it in the buds on the trees, the tulips and daffodils peeking through the soil, and the insects buzzing from flower to flower. Sometimes in our lives, we face our own long winters, those challenging times that feel dark and difficult. We may ask ourselves, how do we find the light when everything seems dark? Where are the new beginnings when everything feels so lifeless? Little Mole discovers answers in nature, but also learns something important about finding hope within. This is Little Mole Finds Hope, written by Glynis Nellist and illustrated by Sally Garland. Little Mole was sad. He lay in his burrow deep underground and put his head in his paws. Little Mole, whatever's wrong? Asked Mama. I just don't know, Mama, sniffed Little Mole. But I don't feel good inside. I'm sad. What you need is hope, Mama said. Hope? What's hope? Where do I find it? Little Mole asked. Come with me, Mama said as she took hold of Little Mole's paw. Sometimes hope is hiding in the darkness. Sometimes it's hard to see, but it's always there. You just have to find it. Mama led her son gently out of the dark burrow up toward the light. But on their way out of the tunnel, Mama stopped. Do you see this bulb, Little Mole? She asked. Mama pointed to a bulb squashed in the dark earth. It was brown, wrinkled, and lifeless. It's dead, Mama, said Little Mole. No, my dear, Mama whispered softly. This bulb is not dead. Sometime soon it will feel the warmth of the sun. It will begin to grow and push its way out of the deep, cold earth. One day this bulb will become a beautiful yellow daffodil. Close your eyes, Little Mole. Can you see it dancing in the wind? Yes, Mama, cried Little Mole. I see it, I see it. That is hope, Mama said. Little Mole and Mama reached the top of the burrow where the sun was shining. Look up, Little Mole, Mama said. What do you see? Little Mole looked up. He saw woodpeckers sitting in the trees, but the branches were bare. They stretched out like skeleton bones silhouetted against the sky. They're dead, Mama, said Little Mole. No, my dear, Mama whispered softly. The trees are not dead. One day soon buds will appear, and these branches will be covered in bright green leaves. Close your eyes, Little Mole. Can you see them dancing in the wind? Yes, Mama, cried Little Mole. I see them, I see them. That is hope, Mama said. Little Mole and his Mama scurried along the edge of the woods until they came to Mr. Rabbit's garden. An old brown flower pot was lying on its side in the soil. Under the rim, something small and shriveled was hanging. It's dead, Mama, said Little Mole. No, my dear, Mama whispered softly. This chrysalis is not dead. One day soon, the butterfly growing inside will burst out of her shell. She'll spread her wings and fly free among the flowers. Close your eyes, Little Mole, said Mama. Can you see her dancing in the wind? Yes, Mama, cried Little Mole. I see her, I see her. That is hope, Mama said. Little Mole and his Mama went home. I had a wonderful day today, Mama, Little Mole said happily. Now I know that there's always hope, even in the darkest places. Mama smiled as she tucked Little Mole into bed, pulled his quilt up under his chin, and kissed him goodnight. And Little Mole closed his eyes and fell fast asleep, dreaming of yellow daffodils, green trees, and beautiful butterflies dancing together in the wind. Little Mole discovered that hope is all around us, inside and outside, even in the darkness. May we all find those signs of light and renewal when we need them most. Let's see what signs we find today outside in our garden while the adults continue this important conversation. For the kids joining us in RE, we are going to be outside today, so if you have a jacket you want to bring, please do. And if you'll gather here with me, we'll have the adults along the center aisle form a bridge and sing us out. Thank you.
Hold you in our love as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life, we hold you in our love as you go.
This is the time in the service when you're invited into some quiet, meditative time, a time without a lot of words, a time to be with your breath and yourself. So I invite you to put your feet on the floor and uncross your arms, maybe lay your hands open in your lap, and breathe. One big inhale, one big exhale to start. See if you can soften the tension in your face, your forehead, your jaw, the space going down to your shoulders and your shoulders. Drop your shoulders. We tend to be in a very hunched position a lot of the time. Then start your rhythmic breathing. 4 beats in slowly through your mouth, 5 or 6 beats out slowly. 4 beats in slowly through your nose, 5 or 6 beats out slowly through your mouth in a steady rhythm, seeing if you can create ease and spaciousness from the crown of your head down to the soles of your feet. Let's just breathe together. While you breathe, I offer these words. Listen, by Linda Lacioni Moyer. Standing in the garden, left hand laden with ripe strawberries, the sun beams off the glossy backs of flies. 3 birds in the birch tree, they must have been there all year. My mother, my grandmother stood like this in their gardens. I am 43. This year I have planted my feet on this ground, and I am practicing growing up out of my legs like a tree. Slowly come out of your breathing, a few more rounds, and then a big exhale. We'll remain seated for our quiet song. It's number 128 in the gray hymnal, For All That Is Our Life.
Keep Your Fork by Roger William Thomas. There was a woman named Helen who had been diagnosed with cancer and was given 3 months to live. Her doctor told her to start making preparations to die. So she contacted her pastor and had him come to her house to discuss certain aspects of her final wishes. She told him what songs she wanted sung at the service, what scriptures she would like read, and what she wanted to be wearing. The woman also told her pastor that she wanted to be buried with her favorite Bible. Everything was in order, and the pastor was preparing to leave when the woman suddenly remembered something very important to her. "There's one more thing," she said excitedly. "What's that?" came the pastor's reply. "This is very important," the woman continued. "I want to be buried with a fork in my right hand." The pastor stood looking at the woman, not knowing quite what to say. "That shocks you, doesn't it?" the woman asked. "Well, to be honest, I'm puzzled by the request," said the pastor. The woman explained, "In all my years of attending church socials and functions where food was involved, my favorite part was whenever the person was clearing away the dishes of the main course would lean over and say, 'You can keep your fork.' It was my favorite part because I knew that something better was coming. When they told me to keep my fork, I knew that something great was about to be given to me, and it wasn't Jell-O or pudding. You didn't need a fork for that. It was chocolate cake or cherry pie. Something with substance. So I just want people to see me there in that casket with a fork in my hand, and I want them to wonder, what's with the fork? Then I want you to tell them, be hopeful. Something better is coming, so keep your fork too." The pastor's eyes were welled up with tears of joy as he hugged the woman goodbye. He knew this would be one of the last times he would see her before her death. But he also knew that Helen had a better grasp of life's blessings than he did. She knew that something better was coming. At the funeral, people were walking by the woman's casket, and they saw the pretty blue dress she was wearing and her favorite Bible and the fork placed in her right hand. Over and over, the pastor heard the question, "What's with the fork?" And over he smiled. During the eulogy, the pastor told the people of the conversation he had with Helen shortly before she died. He also told them about the fork and what it symbolized to her. The pastor told the people how he could not stop thinking about the fork and told them that they probably would not be able to stop thinking about it either. He said, "Keep your fork and let it remind you, oh so gently, of Helen and that something good is surely coming."
I love the story that Cynthia read for us about Helen and her fork, and how it gently reminds us that something good is surely coming. We certainly hope so. Helen is quite a role model, isn't she? This woman facing death but embracing possibility and asking to be buried with a fork in her hand absolutely epitomizes optimism, abundance, and faith. As a group, we Unitarian Universalists may not share Helen's theology or her view of the afterlife, but like her, we are hopeful people. And in our midst, we have many wonderful role models of strength and graceful, creative aging, too. I see you. These women are what I would call grounded optimists. And most of the time I am too, a real dyed-in-the-wool, half-full glass, triple-layer cake kind of gal. That's probably why I ended up being a Unitarian Universalist, because this liberal faith of ours is essentially an optimistic and hopeful one. My message this morning is one of hope and optimism. It's not pie in the sky or head in the sand, just hopeful and encouraging. Of course, it would be irresponsible of me to suggest that life, a truly human life, is an either-or proposition, because it isn't. Our lives and this world are composed of good news and bad news, controllable and uncontrollable forces, and a perfect life and a perfect person are oxymorons. Our human predicament is a little like that infamous lost cat ad found in England and posted on the internet that I shared a year ago when I preached about living deliberately in a random world, but it's always worth repeating. The ad reads, "Lost cat, old, mangy, one-eyed, limped, neutered, crippled, answers to the name Lucky." Life can be so like that. One day it is raining on our parade, and the next we have experienced a moment of splendor and a break in the clouds. It's life. It's unpredictable. Triumph and tragedy, joy and sorrow, suffering and renewal, lockdowns and vaccinations, fluctuating stock markets. You know, I haven't always been abundance-minded or able to see or even believe in life's silver lining. In 1986, when I was 29, my vivacious, lovely mother, Flora, died at the age of 55. It was heartbreaking and confusing to watch her suffer and deteriorate from a non-operable brain tumor. She was amazing, so creative, so lovely. She had been looking forward to her own third act, becoming an interior designer and adoring the future grandchildren that were yet to be. And since then, over the years, I've come to realize just how ill-equipped I was in so many ways to cope with the magnitude of that loss, the trauma of it. Despite the many exceptional older women role models I've encountered these past 39 years, and there have been so many, the one I lacked was the very one that could enable me to envision my own third act, my own mother. Over the years, no matter how hard I tried, I simply couldn't picture myself as a woman beyond age 55. It was unsettling. A friend suggested that I have one of those age progression photos of myself done. I passed on that. But it was tempting. Anything to catch a glimpse of myself, silver-haired and etched with wisdom in a life fully lived, posing with grandchildren at high school graduations. Then something really stunning happened. I was enjoying a glass of wine after conducting a wedding in Boston in November of 2010. It was the last wedding in a long season of weddings during which I had eaten my weight in hors d'oeuvres, again. My voice was raggedy and hoarse as I shared my weariness with an older guest seated at my table. She looked at me warmly with sparkling blue eyes and said, "You need to take care of yourself, Reverend. You are going to live a long time." I was dumbstruck. "How do you know that?" I asked quietly. "Well, because I do," she replied, her graceful smile framed with the most beautiful, shiny silver hair. Take care of yourself. You're going to live a long time. Well, this encounter caused me to examine how little confidence I had had in my longevity and the ways that impacted my daily wrestling match with life, how anxious I could be, how frantic I felt at times to get things accomplished, to see my children through milestones, to sustain a kind of normalcy. I would hold my breath, waiting for the results of physicals and mammograms. At times, I even worried that I was cursed and destined to repeat my mother's karma. I had trouble planning for old age because I didn't have any tangible sense of it. Some days, it felt like I was just tearing pages off a calendar in some doomsday countdown. But in 2011, I really grew tired of this cycle, and I made the decision to set a new course and embark on a new road. And I moved back to my hometown of Pittsburgh. And then on April 18th, 2012, 14 years ago, I turned 55, the same age that my mother had died. How could this be? It made no sense. I felt so young, so full of life. How could she have died at this age? I was hiking up mountains and kayaking and dancing. I went to visit her grave on my birthday, and I read the inscription we had chosen, "Beautiful and Noble Spirit," and the tragedy of her early demise took on a new dimension. But later that day, I was out walking my dog and feeling a familiar malaise again, the old fear, the belief that the future had no shape and was too flimsy to grasp. And the question came to me, somewhat self-pitying, given all my relative blessings: what can I look forward to? The toxic chatterbox in my head was stirring up trouble again. Nothing, she sneered. You can't look forward to anything. And the loop began. Really, what can I look forward to? Nothing. As I ambled along Mifflin Avenue, crocuses were popping up through the spring soil. And a different voice, perhaps the voice of that wedding guest or the voice of my mother, broke through the gremlin's drone and said softly, everything, Robin. You can look forward to everything if you choose to. Looking forward is a choice. Being willing to look forward to everything, come what may, is a decision that is open to you now. The answer is everything. And it really was like the sun had come out on my soul. I believed for the first time, perhaps, that I was not my mother, that I was going to live a long time, that I did need to take care of myself, and that I had a choice. So I made it. I would look up, look out, and look forward. We all throw around the idea of epiphanies and revelations, and this felt like the real deal. Buddha famously has advised, you must let go of the life you planned in order to embrace the life awaiting you. That day, on my 55th birthday, I loosened my death grip on mortality, and some of the abundance I had yearned for has come to nestle in the open palms of my hand. I am healthy and settled. My adult children are thriving and are both happily married and engaged in their lives and careers. I have 4 precious grandchildren and so many friends. My ministry has flourished and grown. The answer is everything. On Friday, this Friday, I turn 68. It still seems like a small miracle to me. Through those dark days of aimlessness, I kept my fork, and I'm so glad I did, as there will be cake, not just at birthday parties, although chocolate please if you're baking, but in all the quiet moments of grace, bright moments of joy, and even the dim moments of sorrow and fear and regret. with all the turmoil happening in our country right now, the answer is everything. Our former UU president, Paul Carnes, echoes this view. Life is so great a blessing, he tells us, that every tomorrow we project, every time we aspire or dream, every time we set our alarm clock in faith that the sun will rise again and we will be there, we bear witness to that optimism. Every time we keep our fork, in other words, we practice a resurrection of sorts as we rise again and again in hopefulness. Not surprisingly, it turns out that the key to staying healthy and living longer is attitude. Essentially deciding you are not old and decrepit, despite evidence to the contrary. I'm not even sure what it means to be old anymore. The humorist Bill Guest says you'll know you're old when, among other things, you wear a name tag as much for yourself as for others, and that happy hour is a nap. Nevertheless, in an article for the Chicago Sun-Times, Alexa Ruiz quips that those of us lucky enough to grow old or older must contend with miserable stereotypes of what it's like, the frailty, the forgetfulness, the cluelessness, and the early bird specials. Just yesterday, I came across a book called The Swedish Art of Aging Exuberantly, Life Wisdom from Somebody Who Will Probably Die Before You. It's a great title, and I think I will listen to it on Audible. It turns out that in aging, as in many things, attitude can make all the difference and has a greater impact on health, happiness, and longevity than the date on our birth certificates. In a study at Harvard, the psychologist Ellen Langer found that expectation, not biology, leads many older people to set physical and intellectual limits on themselves. They think they're supposed to. Langer concluded they assume they'll fall apart, so they let it happen. They pull the plug on learning, growing, deepening, connecting. Decline becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Through her research, Langer learned that people over 50 with more positive perceptions of aging, who are more willing to accept the inevitability of aging without denial, live nearly 8 years longer than those with negative attitudes. It turns out that faith, meditation, and belonging to a religious community like Eastrose can lead to a longer and more fulfilling life too. It's about community and connection, so stick around. Langer writes, the misery myth is one of the most pernicious myths, because when you think the future is really bleak, you don't plan. But when you think, I am going to be the coolest 80-year-old who launches a line of hip clothing for old people, there is so much possibility. These findings conjure up a memory of an elderly woman I came to admire in one of my previous ministries named Thelma. She even had an old-timey name. She was often known to proclaim, "This has been a perfect day." It was her trademark phrase, even though she was nearly blind and crippled with arthritis. She used to say that all she needed was a pinky full of hope. In her case, it was a gnarled and throbbing pinky, but so much hope, faith, and simple gratitude in that one small digit. Both Helen, from our fork story, and Thelma would tell you that there is cake in all of it, all of life, even the hard parts, even this strange and challenging time we're living through. And neither of them would fib about death, either because they accept that life is finite. Many forces in Western culture have conditioned us to be afraid of this, to fear aging. We joke that 50 is the new 35. And although this may be true, at least truer than previous generations, it's not going to stave off an eventual end time. We all have an expiration date. But we are poised, you and me, between the inevitable and the possible. And there is an alternative to fear and loathing, and it is this: using our very finitude as a spur to lean into abundance and living with courage and optimism rather than dread, to drink from a half-full glass, to proceed with what the theologian Paul Tillich calls the courage to be in the face of our finitude, to push life out of our inner tombs of pain, fear, preconceived inevitabilities, and disappointments, to answer everything to the question of what life might offer you or teach you. Today is Palm Sunday, and Passover began last night at sundown. In these stories, we have characters and people who answered everything to destiny and possibility. Jesus wept looking down from Mount Olivet and then rode into Jerusalem, knowing this was his destiny and his sacrifice. Moses led the Israelites through the wilderness for 40 years toward a promised land, their everything. And both stories are filled with hardship and hope. I stand here looking out on a beloved congregation of people who have had their share of glories and regrets. And I have too. And I ask myself, would I live the same life? Do I have a do-over option? No. That's only in TV series about time travel. Will the future be a proverbial bowl of cherries? Unlikely. I am not looking forward to creaky limbs, forgetfulness, and gravity. But I am not going to wait until I'm 80 to don a purple hat and go out and stir things up and have fun with the world and help change what needs to be changed. As I approach each birthday, including this one, I'm elated to have what the actress Laura Linney calls the privilege of aging. And in some ways, I am living this precious third act for all the decades my mom didn't get. How about you? Can you answer everything to some part of the future you have doubted or feared? Can you lean into possibility? None of us knows the future, yet we can only be open to it and bring our inherent RUaUU optimism into that future if we're not afraid of its ugliness or unpredictability, and if we are not too cynical about other people and about the potential ahead. Ironically, the story is told that when we get to the gates of heaven, St. Peter will not ask what we hope for in the next life, but whether we have lived this one to the fullest. So along with Thelma and Helen, I encourage you to live and age as fully and creatively as possible. Fork in one hand, half full glass in the other, prepared for the worst, yet seeking the best, holding on to what is good without ignoring the heartbreak. So keep your fork, even though some days we struggle just to get out of bed. Keep your fork, even if you're down to your last pinky of hope, and what is good often feels like it's just slipping through your fingers. Keep your fork, even though optimists like Thelma and Helen die too. Keep your fork and live your own everything into this weary, wonderful world. It's been said that if a person gives up hope, they've entered the gates of hell, whether they know it or not, and have left behind their own humanity. Everything is waiting for you. So keep your fork close at hand, and when people ask, what's up with the fork? Tell them and yourself, I'm leaving room for cake. Blessed be, blessed we, and amen. Our final hymn is number 301, Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky. Please rise as you are willing and able.
Walk on shores while spirits fly, over the ocean, over the land, in the quest to understand. Touch the earth, reach the sky, children ask the reasons why. In our lives the answers show, and why our love they learn and grow. Touch the earth, reach the sky, all are born and all shall die. Life's the time left in between, to follow a star, to build a dream. Touch the earth, reach the sky, on the laughter, feel the cry. May we see where we can give, for this is what it means to live. Touch the earth, reach the sky, soar with courage ever high. Spirits joining as we fly, to touch the earth, to reach the sky. Please be seated.
I'm going to break with script and tell you I really needed to hear that today. And I doubt that I'm the only one. Each week, we take an offering to support this church and to share with a community nonprofit. And since last year and continuing through August, half of our offering now goes to NIA, the Native American Youth and Family Center, which serves Native Americans from across the Portland metropolitan area. Their aim is to enhance the diverse strengths of youth and families in partnership with the community through cultural identity and education. They promote healthy living through positive alternatives to high-risk behaviors and promote the values of sobriety, family stability, culture, active lifestyles, and education. Our congregation is involved in several projects with NIA, and we encourage you to check Petals or contact Karen Pyle, whom you saw earlier. Karen, she's right there, for ways to join this partnership. If you're attending online, you can donate by visiting our website and clicking the donate button, or you may scan the QR code on the screen. And if you're here for the first time, we invite you to let the basket pass and truly be our guest. I have asked Jurgen and Shirley Jean to pass the basket today, since this might be their last visit here, and they've graciously agreed to do that. The gifts of the congregation will now be most gratefully received. Okay, please remain seated and sing our song of gratitude, number 110 in the Teal hymnal, We Give Thanks. The words will be on the screen. The words for extinguishing today's chalice are from Eric Hepburn. We extinguish this flame to remind us love is the center. As we explore and rest, engage and heal, love remains the center. When all we can see is cold ashes, love remains. Thank yous today. It takes many people to make this service happen each Sunday. Mary for our music, Tara Toler for the children's story and the classes, John Netherton for the AV, our wonderful minister, Reverend Robin, and our greeters, Kim and Eric, our basket passers, the Jurgens, Jurgen and Shirley Jean, sorry about that. And others, I'm sure I have forgotten somebody, but thank you. Yes, whoever made coffee today. And I also saw there's cookies back there. Next week is Easter. And in previous times, before we did a lot of rearranging of things in the church, we had a sign-up sheet for flowers real close to the hallway, at this end of the hallway. Those sign-up sheets are now in the Thatcher room. We have nobody signed up for flowers. We're all gonna bring them. You remember a couple years ago, we flooded this church with flowers from our gardens and from Fred Meyer's garden and Al's nursery garden. Just bring them, just bring them. Let's have a lot of flowers. Let's make this place so beautiful and full of spring for our celebration of Easter next week. And speaking of plants, I want to remind you that the plant swap is coming. It's 2 weeks from yesterday, correct? Yes. It's April 26th from 10:30 to 12:30. And if you've never come to these, it's so much fun. Come if you've got plants to share. Come if you just need plants. You're going to find all kinds of wonderful stuff. I grew tomatoes from plants that were little starts that were given to me last year, tools, seeds, packets, anything related to gardening, bring and share. And people from the neighborhood come, people driving by seeing a sign and come and look. It's really a lovely experience. Everyone's welcome. We do it rain or shine every year. Invite your friends. I'm gonna bring some of my neighbors. Come by even if you have no plants to bring. You can just always visit. And maybe you'll take home a tomato plant. You never know. Everything is free. There's no cost for anything. And I think that's the end of my announcements, but I know Robin has some.
Just one. So next week on Easter Sunday, we're going to have a new member welcome ceremony. We have a few members who haven't been part of that ceremony who have signed the book, And if you would like to sign the membership book, so this book goes back to 1956. And if you've been here a long time, it would probably be a sentimental journey for you to look through this book. But Unitarian Universalists have been signing membership books since like the 1600s. This is part of our tradition and our polity that when you become a member, it changes your commitment to the congregation, and you also sign the book. So I'm hoping that we will have some folks who are newer to the congregation but feel that deeper connection and commitment and want to sign the book, and we will welcome you next week in a ceremony. I'll have the book today. Our spirited conversations after the service today will be about the topic of the service, but also any questions you have about membership or talking about your spiritual journey coming here to Eastrose and to Unitarian Universalism. So I hope some of you might want to convert from friends to members in a UU conversion kind of way. So we will say our benediction together.
Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings.
And may you go out in love and come back in joy. Amen. Please join for coffee and conversation in the Thatcher Room. And if you want to come back for conversation, we'll greet you here.